Welcome to this episode of my podcast. My name is Kalsoom, and I specialize in training medical professionals how to get the score they need in IELTS or OET so that they can get their dream job, take their career to the next level, and start living their best life with their families by providing them with bigger and better opportunities. Before I start with the main topic for this week's episode, I just want to make you aware of how you can use this podcast to your maximum advantage. This is no ordinary podcast. You can use this podcast by one, simply listening to the podcast to get some advice that will help you in your IELTS or OET preparation. Number two, actively listening to this podcast to improve your listening skills. I try to keep it short. I know you guys are very busy people, but you can use it for focused listening practice. So you can use the show notes, which is a complete transcript of each episode. You can read the episode as you listen and analyze the language, learn new words or phrases, practice pronunciation and intonation. Number three, also included in the show notes are some comprehension style questions that you can use by reading the transcript, using your skimming and scanning techniques to answer the questions. Answers are provided at the end, but you can also check your answers by listening to the podcast. Number four, you can use it as a listening test and answer the same questions while listening. And number five, I also include a brief analysis of some useful words or phrases that I have used in the podcast, which you can learn. So it's up to you how you would like to use this tool. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your colleagues and social media so that more people can benefit from it too. Hi, and welcome to this episode. In this episode, we'll be looking at 5 ways to use the listening transcript to improve your English. But before we get into that, how is your preparation going? Let me know. My email is in the show notes, and it's always nice to hear from you. It's always nice to help you. So let me know what you're struggling with, what you need help with. Also, in my free OET Facebook group, I have started doing weekly OET Q&As every Friday, where you can just come along. It's on Zoom, and you can ask any questions, ask for any kind of help that you need. And I'm there for an hour, and you can ask me anything and get any help that you need there. So if you'd like to join the group, the link for the Facebook group is in the show notes as well. So you're more than welcome to come along to that. Also in my show notes is the link to my OET Success membership training. So that's where my, you have access to my OET course and the daily lessons, the feedback. That all happens in there. There's also a link to a video where I show you inside the membership, and I show you how the training works, how the feedback works, and what you have access to. So that's all in the show notes. Also in the show notes is my free OET training, Preparing for OET Success. And in that training, I show you exactly what you should be doing for each subtest every single day and improving your skills, your reading skills, your listening skills, your speaking skills, your writing skills, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, everything. So if you would like to take advantage of that, that link is also in the show notes. Okay, so let's get on to the main part of this episode, how to use the listening transcript to improve your English. Now, I talk about this a lot throughout most of my podcast episodes. And if you are one of my students or are in the free group, the OET group, I talk about this a lot. It's a huge resource that students don't use not nearly enough. And it's free, it's readily available, and there's not much effort in accessing it. And it's a really good way to ultimately improve your scores. And this, I know I keep mentioning OET, but this is relevant for IELTS as well. So for the IELTS listening transcript, it's relevant for both. So it's relevant for OET and it's relevant for IELTS. So number one, the first way to use the listening transcript is after completing the listening test, look at the transcript. So once you've done the test a time, you've answered all the questions, you've marked your paper, you understand which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong, go and look at the transcript, and especially look at your wrong answers, and go to that section in the transcript and look at why you got the answer wrong. What did you miss? Why did you miss the answer? Was it to do with vocabulary? Was it to do with the accent, the speed in which the people or the person was talking? What was the reason? Was there any other reason? The transcript will give you a lot of insight. And once you know what the issue was, why you got that answer wrong, you can make sure you don't make the same mistakes again and work on improving those issues. And if you keep doing that every time you do a listening test, then you will end up seeing patterns in your mistakes. It could be that you are making very similar mistakes throughout your listening test. And that can then indicate a certain area of your English learning that you need to improve. So for example, if you are consistently making mistakes due to vocabulary, then that you need to improve your vocabulary. You need to expand your vocabulary. Again, if it's something to do with pronunciation, you just keep missing, you don't understand the words, then that's something else that you need to improve on. But until you do this analysis work, you will never know what the issues are and what you need to improve. Okay, so that's number one. The second way is you can listen and read at the same time. This is really useful. If you are new to the test and you need to get used to the academic language and the pace of the listening and the way people talk. So if you're new to the test, this is a really good way of slowly getting used to listening to that kind of language. It's a lot at the beginning to take in. So this is a really good way of slowly getting into it. Getting used to the language and the pace. And, obviously, if you are struggling with the accent or the pace of talking, then, going back to point number one, this is a good way to make sure that you understand what is being said by reading it at the same time as listening to it. And, you can go back and repeat words or phrases and things like that, and you can understand and get used to the accent or the pace or whatever it is that you're struggling with. Number three, analyzing the language and vocabulary. This is really important. This is really, really important. Look at the vocabulary of the question, of the listening questions. Look at the vocabulary. What words and phrases are used in the question? And if it's a multiple choice question, look at the options as well. Look at the language of the options. What are the words that are used in the options? And then understand the difference in meaning between the options. Yeah, what language is used, what vocabulary is used for each option, and what is the meaning between each option. Then look at where the answer is in the transcript, and look at how the transcript the words used in the transcript what are the words used for the answer? Obviously, it will never be the same. They will always use synonyms, sometimes even antonyms, to give you the answer. So they'll give you the opposite of what is being said in the options, and that's where the answer lies. So you have to master vocabulary here, and it's so very important that you do this. This helps you to build up your vocabulary, and it will help you in all aspects of the test. By looking at how the questions are structured, and how you hear the answer. How is it, what words do they use? How do they give you the answer? And this trains your ears to listen out for that difference in language, for the synonyms, for the antonyms, for the paraphrase. Yeah. And it helps to build up that level of vocabulary. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, you can also use the transcript to analyze other aspects of language. So, for example, grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, phrases that are used, also pronunciation, also intonation as well, words that are emphasized, word stress, sentence stress. These things can add meaning to what is being said just by stressing one word in the sentence. It adds more meaning to it. So you have to understand these higher level pronunciation features. This is both for IELTS and OET. You need to understand these things because these add meaning, and sometimes the answer can lie within these aspects. So you have to be very comfortable in listening and understanding these types of things. So try to extract everything you possibly can from the transcript and the audio at the same time. Number 5, practice the pronunciation. Simply repeat the words and try to copy, not the accent. You do not need to copy the accent. And I've spoken about this many times before. There is a difference between pronunciation and accent. You will all have an accent when you speak English because English is not your first language, and that's okay. You don't need to change your accent. You just have to make sure that your accent is not interfering with how well you are being understood, how clearly you are understood. So if your accent is affecting your pronunciation, that's a problem. So you need to fix the pronunciation, not change your accent. Yeah, so I hope that's clear. So practice the pronunciation, try repeating the words and practicing how words are pronounced, the sounds of the words. Yeah. So practice the pronunciation of individual words, then practice pronouncing those words in a sentence. So, pronunciation is at a sound level, an individual sound level, then at a word level, and then at a sentence level. Yeah. So it's how those words are pronounced individually and how those words are pronounced collectively in a sentence. These are all different things that you need to practice. And obviously, you can copy and practice the intonation, the pace, the sentence stress, all of these things. And with this as well, you can also record yourself while you're repeating the words or just reading out the transcript and listen back to the recording and compare yourself to the original audio. Assess your pronunciation, assess your intonation. Are you, give it to somebody else to listen to. Can they clearly understand what you're saying? And, that will help boost your pronunciation and your confidence in speaking as well. And you will pick up all kinds of things when you do this around pronunciation and things like that. And how to pause in a sentence and, give meaning that way. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. These are just 5 ways that I get my students to maximize the listening transcript. It's a great tool, a great resource to improve your English. And like I said at the beginning, most students don't bother to do this. They don't use it enough. So if you use any of these tips, let me know how you get on. You need to do them consistently in order to see an improvement. It's not going to be, you do it once and that's it. That's not going to work. You have to keep at it. You have to keep doing it. Like with all parts of the preparation for OET and IELTS, you have to keep doing it again and again and again in order to see the improvement. So be patient with yourself, and let me know how you find these tips. Try them out. Let me know how it works for you, and if you find any other way to use the transcript that's helped you, also let me know. It's nice to hear that as well, how students find their own way of doing things as well. That's always very helpful. In the meantime, keep working hard and moving forward in your preparation every day as best as you can. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.
I really hope you have found this episode useful. Please let me know if you have. I would love to get your feedback, and if there is something you would like me to do an episode on, for IELTS or for OET, please just let me know. The details on how you can contact me are in the show notes of this episode. And remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you are not willing to change or implement advice and you keep doing the same thing, you will keep getting the same results again and again. Real progress, real improvement comes when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your colleagues and on your social media so that more people can benefit too. Take care and keep working hard.